used for other purposes. But me personally being in agriculture, I want to get down to the root of the thinking of my people. And our people think on a practical level. They will not build a building that took 30 years, 100,000 people to work it for some dead man. You can tell them, you can't trick our people like that. You know, it's not like, man, look, man, you can't trick us like that. Plus, if you look at the history of it, if you didn't run that race in that said festival, a certain length of time, you were killed anyway. They'll strangle you. That's why all the kings were looking like that, because they were. As soon as you lose your form, lose your physical strength, that means you're losing your will. When you lose your will, you got to be taken out from in front of the people, because you represent the will of the people. So why we would build some structure for just a mere human that may break down? What was in you is what we wanted. It was your car. It was the will. That's what you're supposed to represent. When that no longer is in you, we get rid of the body. Now, the only reason we mummified him and put him in this why would you put a gold face on somebody that you can stick underneath the ground? We put them in a place called the Labyrinth, which is a museum, where we have every king and queen in a niche, standing up in a niche. That's why the feet on all those sarcophagus, them things they got them in, are big, because the thing wasn't made to lay down. It was made to stand up. In a niche, on the side of each one of them is their history, so that we can learn from them. So you can take your children to the museum, say, there's your great-great-great-great-great-granddaddy, there's your great-great-great-great-grandmama, now look how you act. You look just like them, but look how you act. You think they'd be proud of that? Okay? That's what we use those faces for. It's to bring back the car, the will, to help you reclaim the knowledge of yourself that's hidden in your genetic structure. Okay, so I knew they did other things, so I told other folks, look, I'm going to deal with the agriculture thing, the irrigation thing. You all my students in North Carolina A&T. I said, y'all deal with the mathematical thing. Because I know it's a mathematical science by what they did. People lazy, didn't do it. So, okay, this is my hobby. So when I'm at the farm and I ain't got nothing else to do, it's raining, I'm upset because I ain't getting no support from Chicago. The brother's supposed to come down, help me pick. They ain't come down. You know what I mean? I'm stuck out there by myself. You know what I'm saying? I said, I'm going back to where I know we were God. We know we were taught that we are God, supposed to be God. I go back to when I know we were God, so I can see and understand the mentality of the God. Because if I can watch these niggas out here, I'm gonna lose faith that we can become God again. So I go back to when I know we were God. The Elijah Muhammad said that we did everything right and exact. Perfect. So I started studying about it. I said, let me go back. Now, they say this here, the pyramids were not built as a unit. They said that Khufu built his this big, because he had big head, a lot of money. Khafra didn't have quite as big a head and bigger money, so he was a little bit smaller. And Menkaure was Poe. All right, so this is what they said. They said there was no relationship. These are egos working. Now, these do not line up on a straight line. Well, so I said, okay, did we mean for them to line up on a straight line? So what I did, said, well, maybe let's try something else. They line up on a circle as, okay, let me get this right. Now, the dimensions of that circle, from here down, you can't see the center of the circle. This radius of the circle is twice the distance from, let me see, let me get this thing right here in a minute. Okay, it's twice the distance between Khufu and Menkaure. This distance here is twice that distance. Also, this distance here, okay, 4, in other words, the length of one side of the pyramid times 4 is its perimeter. All right, that is the distance between here and here. In other words, the distance between this pyramid and that pyramid is exactly the perimeter of the Great Pyramid. Now, this distance here is exactly twice the distance of the circle that they sit on. So I said, no, this ain't no coincidence. This is right and exact. Now, as we know, the Great Pyramid, they say, is exactly north, south, east, and west. Well, this right here is north. Thank you, brother. This right here is west. So this is north, this is west. Now, so this portion here of a circle is what portion of it? It's the northwest portion of it. Okay? 1/4 of it. But this is the north axis. This is the west axis. Now, there are some tombs up on the Giza Plateau. All these little squares right here with no triangle. The triangles means it's a pyramid. If these rectangles and boxes, these are tombs. These are tombs of the architects and the workers. Because you know slaves didn't build no pyramids. Slaves don't do nothing perfect. Okay, the stuff is perfect, right? Slaves didn't do it. These are scientists. And of course they want to be buried around the greatest structure that was ever going to be built. Mathematical structure. So their tombs is in the Western Cemetery and the Eastern Cemetery. All right? Now I want you to look at the Western Cemetery. This is the Western Cemetery. Now I want you to think about the northwest corner. Who was buried? Who was hit upside the head? You got it? What's that?
That's where they got it.
Right. But what is that? Look at it. See, if I had children here, they'd figure it out.
No, it looks like the United States. Bingo.
Boom. Bingo. It's in the United States. Florida, Maine, the Great Lakes, Texas, California.
Just letting you know something.
Huh? So, now, northwest corner. So, they're looking right now, they're looking right here, underneath in the Sphinx. Because Edgar Casey said that underneath the paw of the Sphinx is the chamber of the Hall of Record. So they're looking for the Hall of Record, thinking they're going to find the histories so they can change the histories to hide their identity. See, that's what it's all about. They want to let you know where they came from, which was out of us. So they're looking for a book. But according to, I just show you one little thing here. Now I move from the pyramids. I'm moving now to the temples. I just want to show you. I just read this little statement because I want to cover that up. This is from a book called The Book of the Beginnings by Massey, and he makes a little quotation from a guy named Dumichin. It is said that a certain part of the temple of Edfu was restored as it is in the book of the model of a temple composed by the Chief Kerheb Prince Ayum-Hotep, eldest son of Ptah. Now wait a minute. The temple of Edfu, they know it was built maybe 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. But Imhotep was here 6,000 years ago. Now they're using a book written by Imhotep as to how they're going to restore a building. Each king, before he can put up any stone building, had to consult a book.
Right.
He couldn't just put up a stone building where he wanted to. Why? Because every time you see Imhotep is holding a book. He's holding a papyrus. All right? So each building was done according to this book. So what he had is the Hall of Record. He had the record. He made the record. And then he put the record in a book, and then they built buildings according to the record. So they're looking for a book in the Hall of Record, but the whole Nile Valley is the book. See, that's why I got a part of another point, is that we made it so big that you couldn't see around. We made the whole Nile Valley a book taken from that book. But you understand that you have to deal with some geometry and all stuff. Then you begin to come out, the book begins to tell a story. So here you have, this is the Western Cemetery, this is the East. You have the causeways from the Nile going to the East. Going to the West from the East. This is our sojourn from the East to the West, to America, where we are buried. These are tombs. We will be buried in the West. Now, when I did that part of the research, I said, let me go and study some more. I'm going to Saqqara Plateau. So, sure enough, you go down to the Saqqara Plateau where the first stone building put up by Imhotep. You find that its pyramids line up on the same geometric circle. The same circle, the same radius that the pyramids in Giza were set up, so were the pyramids in Saqqara. I said, now wait a minute. And there's another story going on Saqqara. And before I move this, I want to deal with it. This is the map of America. Let me kind of move some of the stuff out the way. Okay, I got to move anyway. Just look at the Saqqara Plateau by itself, then I put that back up. This is Saqqara Plateau. All right? Looking at it from the air. Now I want you to look, here are the pyramids. Now I want to look at these lines here represent, when you're doing a map of an area, you have different heights. Your contour map. This is a contour map. So this here is the contour. These lines here represent contour maps of the land. Now I want you to look at this right here. What image do you pick up? This area right here. Thank you. See, thank you, sister. It's a phalanx, or it could be a vagina. It could be a phalanx in a vagina. Now, look at what's inside. Cells, but it's more than just a cell. It's an embryo. Here's the head, the little beak, the little feet. It is a bird, a little chick. As I said, that now, again, you know, and look, now I want you to understand now, I didn't know all this myself. I'm picking this stuff up. I didn't know this part when I wrote my book. Now, I want you to understand what I went through, and I said, now, wait a minute. Now, why in the world, how they know we're going to have overheads? That I can do overlays. They had them, but how do they know we're going to have them? How did he know that I was going to do it? Now, okay, how they know we going to do this? So we were taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that we wrote history every 25,000 years in advance. Okay? In advance. Let's not get on personality. See, that's why we get jammed on personality. Don't get jammed on personality. Okay, now, 25,000 year history in advance. So what we did was we wrote the history down. And then we had people to carry it out. We had to teach them. We taught that Jesus was taught up on the Giza Plateau. All right? He's been told what? He's been the science, the mathematics, of looking at the geometry and understanding his place. That's why he knew he was ahead of time. One time yet. Okay, now. When you overlay this, now the map of the United States is inside the phalanx, inside the vagina. It is the baby bird. Now it's grown up to be a full-fledged eagle. Now, I'm sitting right here at where the center of the Khafre Pyramid sits right at the southeast corner of Imhotep's first pyramid, Saqqara. In that corner is called a serdap of Chizezur. Now, let me show you this right quick. Time is. I want to get on to some other stuff. All right, now, I'm going to remove this now. I want to show you. I'm going to put it right back up. This is a picture. This is a statue they have in the Cairo Museum that they got from that serdap of Chizezur. Okay? This other white boy over here is up on the same Saqqara plateaus, by the way. You know, which is a whole different story because the whole history of the making of the white man is up on that plateau. They had the white boys sitting on the plateau too. Right at the tip of that, I'll show you where this white boys are sitting in a semicircle. In a semicircle, not a whole circle, they're sitting in a semicircle at a particular point on this map, and I'll show you. But here they are down here in the semicircle right here. There's another picture of these white boys. The Greeks. All right? They're sitting as 12 of them sitting in a semicircle there. Anyway, this is one of the statues right here. Okay? Now, this is Chizezar, to whom the first pyramid was built for. Now, he was sitting, because they moved him and they put a likeness in there in the view, but he was sitting in this building, okay, on the southeast corner of the Saqqara pyramid. He's looking out through this hole right here. See that hole? He's looking out through that hole. And what he's looking at is the phalanx. He's looking at the phalanx at the map of America. And he's sitting in a position, for those of us who've been to a mosque or study group before, that his position that he is sitting in, he is sitting on post, front rostrum post, in perfect alignment on front rostrum post. But when you're on front rostrum post and you want to be relieved, you see, you're supposed to sit like this when you're on front rostrum post, like this. When you want to be relieved, you do this. Okay, when you're on front rostrum post and you need to be relieved, you do this. So he is saying he's sitting on post, ready to be relieved. He's ready to be relieved. He's looking 6,000 years into the future, waiting for his replacement. Okay? All right. Now, we got a light to go through, so let me go through it. Now, stop it, move. Well, now, this is where we at now. Here's the Giza Plateau, Khufu, Khafra, Menkaure. This is an aerial map. Now, this map, I just got this in the library, and it's called the Atlas of Egypt. Okay? That's where I got the map from. So ain't it I drew up. Go get it yourself. Now, I put them on a circle. Here's a circle. They sitting on. Well, here's the Saqqara Plateau down here. It's sitting on a circle. But so is the Sahure. It's sitting on a circle. So is the Abarush. It's sitting on a circle. The center of the circle ain't got nothing in it. When I first discovered that they were sitting on the center of a circle at the Giza, I said, I bet you that the Hall of Record is in the center of the circle. Then I said, I ain't got no. Now check this out now. If I had money, I would have gone over there and started digging. But I ain't had no money. So I couldn't go over there to dig. So well, I can't go over there. Let me keep on thinking. Right? Right. That's when I started discovering that all of them set on a circle. And then when I hooked it up, what's in the center of the circle is nothing. But when you line up the center of the circle, it's in a straight line. The centers of the circle between these plateaus, these pyramids, the center of the circle they sit on, line up in a perfectly straight line. Okay? Now, but when you take that straight line and you put it on a bigger map, using the same coordinates, you put that straight line on a bigger map. The straight line from the Giza Plateau at Cairo, you put that straight line, it goes from the Giza Plateau down to Mecca. Down to Mecca. Sahaba Elijah Muhammad said, and others said that Islam was something way before Prophet Muhammad, may the peace of Allah be upon him. But it was here before. And that Mecca was the center. Now, why would these heathen polytheists, animal worshippers in Kemet, in Egypt, be lining up the greatest buildings in the world to Mecca? Okay? That was a worldwide empire of one world, believing in one God. That's why in the book of Coming Forth by Day, the first word is dua. And the hieroglyph is a man in prayer like this. So why did Master Farad Muhammad have us to pray like this? See, we try to hook back some. You put images down to work on your subconscious mind. All right. Dua. Dua means praise. Dua is also the number 5. So praying 5 times a day is what it's saying in the first word of the book of Coming Forth by Day. Okay? So they don't want, see the reason they didn't like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and some of our other scientists is that we was going to take Islam and bring it back through Egypt. See, they want to make you think that the enemy, now this is some deep stuff. Why is it that we believe that who's the biggest devil in the book, the Bible? It's Pharaoh. Pharaoh. Right? Ramses. It don't say that though. Don't say Ramesses. It says Pharaoh. Pharaoh is just a title. Why? If they can tell you the name of Adam and Eve and their children and their grandchildren and all that, how come they can't give you the name of the biggest villain? Because they're hiding something. They're hiding the truth because they know if they will put the name of one of our kings on that incident, they know somewhere on the planet we would have stuck something up in stone. Because we did. We put stuff up in stone of our history all over the planet. And so they know that it'd be on stone somewhere and it will say, no, that brother didn't do that. And that will blow their whole thing. So they just said Pharaoh was the enemy. Now, we want to get to the psychology of those who are working on our psychology. Knowing that we was going to wake up one day. You know you're going to wake up one day. They want to make sure they steer you in a certain direction when you wake up. So you have all these divisions. You got the Christians. You got the Muslims. You got the Kemetic people. You got the Pan-Africanists. All these divisions. Now, you wake up into the Kemetic thing. Can you deal with Islam? Most of the people dealing with Kemetic don't like Islam. You know what I mean? Talk against Islam, right? Now, so they're saying, okay, we can't let them wake up in Islam and Kemetic at the same time. So we'll make them think that the enemy of God is Pharaoh. So when they wake up and see themselves as Pharaoh, they'll reject that. You have to make a decision. You want to be down with Pharaoh, or you want to be down with the God Allah, or you want to be the Yahweh? You understand? Who you going to be with? You can't be with both of them. They cause a split. So that you will not see in the combination and therefore awaken yourself completely. You only be awakened in part. But there's a whole science behind that. I'm dealing with the history now. I know who the real Pharaoh is. And the hint is given in the Quran. He had a man who was his right-arm man named Hammond. And that man exists. I got him in a French writing about the king or the Pharaoh called Apophis. Apophis was the one who Moses and Moses kicked out. The Hyksos took over this part of Kemet. And there was a man named Moses in the 17th dynasty who fought against Apophis, and he was killed. And his brother Moses took over the fight and continued to push and beat them and take them out of the Nile Valley. So Moses is not just one person. Moses is a line of people who do the work of a Moses. And Moses' job is to get rid of our enemies, the warrior type. So you have Moses, you got Moses. You got Tuhute Moses 1, Tuhute Moses 2, 3, and 4. You look at the history of each one of those Moseses, they were involved in pushing them people out. So, Moses kicked out this guy named Apophis, and Apophis' right-hand man was a man named Naaman. That was his vizier. So the hint was left in the Quran to be revealed later because, now this is getting deep now. Here you got the God, us, the scientists, having the right information to wake up the white boy. You understand? The white boy was put here to do certain things. We had to go wake him up every time he went to sleep. Islam woke him up. First Judaism woke him up. Islam woke him up. Christianity woke him up. Put him on his post. Without Islam and Christianity and Judaism, the white boy would never been able to come and get us from Africa and bring us over here. He would not have been able to complete the circle. He would not be able to do his job. He's only the brown germ that was within us that had to be exposed to put over us in power. So we would hate the brown germ so much that when the brown germ come up in us, which comes up every 2,160 years, the dormant gene, the brown germ, comes up in us and takes over. And then we go killing one another. You look at the history of ancient Kemet, it went down with every cycle. You know, you go from Gemini to Taurus, there was a war. You go from Taurus to Aries, there was a war. Then the last one, Aries to Pisces, Alexander the Great closed the whole thing out. You understand? So there was a cycle. And this cycle was you have this dormant gene becoming dominant. And then when that becomes dominant, it will destroy. And we think it's from the outside, but it's something that was happening inside of us. So this is why I believe that Imhotep is Yakub, because he is the big head scientist. And that he has discovered the product that was in us that was in defect. And so he was not a devil, but he was showing us the devil that is in us. Because the 59,999 that our story says that went with him, you must understand that they were not the only ones who had the brown germ in them. They were just the ones who was going to use this to make it into a different race to come and beat us up, their own brothers. But we also still got that problem in us right now. So when we say the devil comes and whispers in your ear, it's just the weaker part of yourself trying to convince the stronger part of yourself to quit, to get off your post. I'm driving the tractor. Here I am, middle of the night, on the tractor, way out here in the woods. Them are rednecks all around, coyotes, got wild boar, I got snakes. You understand? I got all types of animals out there. I'm out here on this tractor, a mile away from the farmhouse, 2 a.m. in the morning, trying to plow, grow some food for some niggas that don't give a damn. Excuse my French. Right? Now, here comes this voice. What you doing out here? Them people don't care nothing about you. They living large while you just making do. Okay? So I say, wait a minute. You mean if I get off this tractor and go to my bed, can you promise us we all be fed? If I quit now, go home and go to sleep, can you promise me my soul to keep? No, I don't think so. So you got to go. Here's my foot, there's the door. It's probably another poem. I'm not going to do the whole thing now. But the thing is, I talked with that part of myself. I said, your word. You don't want me to do my duty. What's your plan? Talking to myself. What's your plan? You ain't got no plan. Yo, you come back. When you got a plan, I quit. Meantime, I'm doing this right here. You know, I'm going to keep plowing and plowing and plowing until I get too damn tired. I got to go home tomorrow. I come out and do it again. But this has got to be done because Mama Nature don't play. You don't do what she want to do. If she rain on you, you can't do it no more. You wind up a whole part of your field you never got plowed. All right? So, no. So this is the part that we had to learn about, that here you got 6,000 years ago. How can somebody have come up to you and say, look, brother, we got a genetic defect. It only comes up every 2,000 years. It's in your genes. What's a gene? See? The people didn't have no scientific knowledge, didn't even know what the man was talking about. So the only way you can prove it, I can't get you to work on yourself until I prove you sick. They said, well, I'm fine now. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm cool. Until you go to the doctor and the doctor says, yeah, you know, but you got this thing working on you, man. It's going to kill you. Then you say, huh? Then you begin to change your ways. So how can you deal with a whole nation of people who are keeping rising and falls at every menopause? How can you heal them? So we had to take the part out of us, put it on a man, have him do his thing, put us on top. So we hate him so much, and what he does, that we will hate it when we see it in ourselves, hate it when we see it in our brother and sister, that we begin to start to work on self. So first, our enemy was the white man. Now our enemy is the Jew. Now the enemy will get back is you and me is the enemy inside. We got to work on him. Now, how do you destroy a weak germ? You destroy the brown germ by not feeding it what it wants. It wants envy. It wants jealousy. It wants insecurity, slander, lewdness. That's what it feeds on, lust. So when you don't give it the food, eventually that's going to drop off. Our genetic code is like if you never use a little finger. Eventually, your children will be born with no little finger. Eventually, our children will be born with not that genetic defect. But first, we got to know that we got it to learn how to work on it. Now, the practice of our religions and our fasting and praying and so forth are working on it, even without our knowledge. But now it comes a time for us to know why we're doing it. It's not just a ritual that you go through. You're doing it because we're working on a problem in our heart, in our mind, in our genetic structure that we got to get off of our DNA. Okay, now before I go to the next part of the lecture, I'm going to open up for questions. I got one little more part I'm going to deal with before I leave if I get a chance. So I'm going to start dealing with the temple. After I dealt with the pyramids being lined up, I want to see if the different temples we built. So I got, that's the next thing I'm working on. I can show you some of that right now. But first we'll deal with some questions. Yes, sir.
generations filled with underground forces that were essentially on top of the surface.
Mm.
So my question would be, are there any demons or forces living under these waters that our ancestors have laid out for us?
Okay, wait a minute. Now, what is the underworld called in the Kemetic? What is it called? The Twat.
No.
Okay, well, you know.
You know.
Okay. Hmm?
Yeah.
You turn.
Yeah.
Is it working? Okay. Oh yeah. Oh, you say ask the mic. When you ask a question, ask the mic. But it's the Twat. It is the river. It is the stream through which we come back into the world. That's how we are reborn. You see, we are reborn through our through our descendants. So you want to live forever? Have a child. They have a child. And there's a second way you can live forever. Physical and a spiritual. If I do something great enough that affects you, like Isis on Osiris and Horus, that you valued it so much that it becomes a part of you, then when you have a baby, I'm in there.
True.
Okay? Okay? So that's how you can reproduce yourself through having an effect on somebody, and that body will carry that into their genetic structure and becomes a part of them. So there are beings in the underworld that our ancestors made to help us to fight, but they're in us.
Right. But we can call them forth.
We can call them forth at will once we understand how to do it. This is why your fasting, your prayer, your different rituals that you all will be doing, these are to help you to tap into those people to help you in terms of your development.
I ain't talking about
And that's why when coming out with all these underground things about the enemies from
From underground. It's not no physical people down there, but it's in you. Mr. Farrakhan said one day the prophets will be walking around the planet again. And we're looking for some type of spooky thing. No, you would manifest the prophets.
Right.
And the enemies of the prophets will also be manifested maybe within your own self or within your brother and your sister. And so when you see your enemies come forth, don't strike out to kill them. We want to learn now how to control them.
That's right.
We have to destroy them in their body. If you kill a body, it gets away. You got to destroy them while they're in their body, so they will be so frustrated that they can't come forth again in the next cycle. Because they know. Let me tell you something about a plant. I noticed in plant, you plant a whole field. Go out there 4 days, 5 days, nothing there. 8 days, nothing there. Then all of a sudden, maybe 2 weeks or a month go by. And you're going to replant again someplace else thinking that it ain't coming up. Then you go out there one day, all of it's up. I said, what's going on? They got some kind of communication system going on. What is they looking at? So they only come up, I want you to check this out. They only come up when they feel that the whole field of them will be successful to survive all the way through making another seed. They can see what the weather pattern is going to be. And they won't come up until they believe. So you may plant a seed and your seeds don't come up. You say, that was some bad seed. That seed already knew that it wouldn't make it towards making another seed, so it stayed dormant. So this is what is going on in us. So I call ourselves dysfunctional revolutionaries because there's something going on in our subconscious mind by the wisdom and knowledge that's being dropped into us that's building another being in us in spite of us. The conscious mind that the white boy put in us is to destroy the God in us. But in the subconscious mind, they're still able to operate. So if you don't want to have no babies, my generation decided they want to only have 2 babies.
Come on.
So God said, okay, that's cool. Then the babies will have babies.
That's right.
But who I want to come through is coming through.
Right.
So we're looking for the little warriors. The little warriors is walking the streets right now. These young people we got will kill you and eat you. You come and tell me, I'm going to kill you, and then what? They don't have the fear.
No.
They don't have the fear in them that we got in us. So they're the warriors. They're who, and the white boy know that's why they're scared of our youth. We're scared of our youth. These folks is come. Look, I told my son, my daughter a long time ago, you're not my child. You belong to God. You want to mess up your life, you go talk to God about it, not to me. You came through me. My job is to nourish you, give you what I can, put you on the right path. But if you want to screw it up, it's on you, homie. Don't come to me with it. That's when you know now. Now you're on your own. Now, next question. I'm sorry. I'm not going to get so long. Yes, sir.
Question. Is there a comparison to the Nile River and the Mississippi River, being that both of them flow in the same direction?
Well, look, brother. Well, they flow in the opposite direction. But they flow in the opposite direction. But the white boy know it. That's why you got Memphis.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he put the pyramid up in Memphis.
Yeah.
You understand? They know this. They know their scientists, the Masons know that this is ancient Kemet. They're trying to reestablish ancient Kemet as being right here. Now, it goes beyond that. When they came over here and they found the so-called mound builders.
Right.
All right. They had lined up. Now, like I said, this I didn't finish out the lines. This same line that goes from Mecca to Cairo, you go in this direction, goes through Athens, it goes through London, then it goes all the way across the Atlantic Ocean into Chicago, Illinois.
That's right.
That same line. Okay, so we had already lined up where Mosque Maryam is going to be. Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when they were building it, the Greeks were building it, he said, that's the building I want. There's a reason for that. Because our ancestors have already laid out what we were going to do when. That's why they knew the map of the United States, what it was going to look like. Not just the map of North America, but the map of the United States. And you made a little hump in that map. And this is what blew my mind just coming up here on the trip up here. I was listening to Art Bell, and they were talking about the situation, the problem between Quebec and the rest of Quebec and the rest of Canada, and they're talking about show them a little map. They're talking about Quebec. All right, this is Quebec right here. They're talking about Quebec seceding. And then maybe if Quebec can secede because Quebec has all the mineral resources and the industry, that then the only way that the other part of Canada can survive is they have to be annexed to the United States. So now that map I showed you, you will notice on that map of the United States, it was not a straight line across the top. There was a hump in it.
Right.
And I didn't figure out to driving up here that they knew what the geopolitics was going to be. Is that when it's time that this here will be a part of this.
Astrology and astronomy.
Okay? This already has been predestined. So when you as an individual, I know when I as an individual, I was just trying to find out, I want to make sure I'm on the right side of the plan because the plan has already been set forth by people who know a lot more than me.
Right.
So I want to make sure that I'm in line to be on the good side of the plan because we got to have some examples on the bad side to teach our children about it and to teach yourself about it. So I don't want to be one of the ones to be using an example. So I'm trying to find out what it is I'm supposed to do. Okay, but yeah, there is relationship, and there's a whole another thing, a study that I'm working on, and I'd like for other folks to work on it, these correlations, because Mr. Farrakhan just said the last atonement, he dropped a little secret, y'all. He said, this is the promised land. We were always being taught, in the nation now, I don't know what other people being taught, but we were taught that we would be taken away on a mothership to Mecca, and that America would be blown up. But now Mr. Farrakhan said, this is the promised land. In other words, this is what we're going to take over, y'all. This is ours. So we need to learn everything about it, how to run it, because we're going to have to run it. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'd like to add something to what you just said. Back in 1913 AD, there was a man that came named Noble Drew Ali, who stated that Chicago would be where it was, and was right on the same block that Mosque Maryam came, exactly 28 years later.
28? Oh, my God.
I mean, if you really look at the difference, then you'll see that this is something that's been going on a long time. When the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad came, he came in succession at the fall of the Moorish movement. But in the United States, it says that when the Moors raised, that's the end.
It's also said
of their space and time in this area.
when the South is raised, that's the end. I want y'all to understand.
Right.
When the South is raised, why is it that none of these movements, the Moorish Science Temple, the Nation of Islam, have not been successful in capturing the South? We've been successful in the North.
We were told by Noble Drew Ali. It's in our writings that we would all go back to the South. He said this back before the 20s, before the messenger really
That's right.
showed up to be the messenger.
So what's happening is,
already been
right. So what's happening is, now again, what we're dealing with is what? War.
That's right.
All along, the plan was for us to take over the South.
Right.
In the meantime, we act like we're dysfunctional.
True.
In the South. So, Atlanta's down. They figure they got the South. They go in and they talk to the black folks. What you think about Noble Drew Ali? Who that? What you think about Master Farad Muhammad? Who that?
Right.
They don't know nothing. Right? So the crackers say, whoa, we got it made. Because we know if they don't wake up, them Negroes ain't going to build no nation. But now it's time for us to get rid of all these divisions and start going to work. We all got the same plan. Your daddy told it you, my daddy told it me. We're not going to argue over our daddy. But we're going to argue and say, how do we get it done? How can we work together to get it done? Because now it's time, the gig is up. This is the promised land, and we swear we're going to never unify, but we lied. Hey,
that's right.
Hey, we lied.
That's right.
So all the Moorish Science people, the Shrine of Black Madonna, the Nation of Islam, the Nubians, the 5%ers, all that. You watch it.
That's right.
When the sound is given, it's gonna click, and everybody gonna move to their own steps, a different vibration, but going in the same direction.
That's right.
So this is the time now, because now it's time to do some work. We got to put this sucker on the ground. Now we got to start in the South first, take it, because we got skilled people down here who know how to do some things, know how to farm, know how to fix cars, know about business, how to do some physical work. Still got bricklayers, got iron, metalsmiths, ironsmiths. We still got those folks down south. Now we need to put them to work so we can start building this nation. Okay, any other questions? Sister, you had a question?
What the brother was saying, way before Noble Drew Ali was established, there was another boy that came out of Egypt to help Marcus Garvey. And in reference to the geographical area that thing was building in Chicago, he spoke about the Greeks built that temple where Muhammad's temple was at. And he also said that 95% of the churches, 95% of the churches in the United States was Muslim. Lord Temple. True. You know what I'm saying? And somehow over the years, a lot of these records in city halls was kept in certain files where they let certain people penetrate. You know what I'm saying? And there have been people now going in these files. Some woman in Louisiana found out that she had 1,000 acres of land in Louisiana that was her ancestors' land, and she got it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and she got it. Then another woman did some research in Alabama and found out that City Hall belonged to her great-grandmother. She has it, right? Right. And then somebody down in my homeland, down in Knoxville, Tennessee,